Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to another Dissidia Opera Omnia video. Now, before we get started, this video is sponsored by Square Enix, so thank you for sponsoring it, Square Enix. If you guys would like to try out the game, you can download it for free on iOS or Android using the link in the description. You can catch up on the story pretty quickly if you're downloading it fresh, since there's no stamina system to get caught up on that. If you'd like to see more, check the description for a playlist of videos to get you maybe a little bit more familiar with what we're talking about here. Now, this video is going to be talking about Awakenings, a feature you've heard me mention a lot in prior videos and is on the lips of pretty much every Dissidia Opera Omnia player. Awakening is a term to designate breaking the level and crystal level limits for specific characters. This gradually gives them access to higher stats, more CP to equip more passives, and additional effects to their skills. In this video, we'll discuss how to awaken characters, what characters can currently be awoken, and we'll start looking a little bit down the pipeline of some future characters and their awakenings. I'll also include a link in the description that has a document that will let you know what awakenings are coming. Now, for the awakening process, it starts with the crystal level cap for eligible characters being lifted. You'll notice that their level cap is still highlighted and capped at 50, but the level 50 crystal level is now a white number that can be raised. Now, upon going to their crystal level windows, you'll at the moment be shown just 10 additional crystal levels to obtain. I say at the moment because level 70 awakenings just started becoming available in the Japanese version, so look forward to that eventually. Now, you'll notice that level 51 to 60 on the crystal level window requires a fourth type of shard in order to advance. Unlike the other grades of crystals, these high crystal shards are available in limited quantity, mostly from event missions or tokens. At the time of making this video, which means by the time you see it, these may not even be there, special events called Heretic events are rewarding quite a few of them from completion and score missions, and they can also be bought with the tokens from the Trick or Treat event for Halloween. That's going to be gone in 2 days from when I'm recording this. You can expect events to gradually give you more, but be mindful about how you spend them due to their limited availability. Crystal level 51 raises the character's level cap by 10, which will give you access to some higher base stats as well as a couple more stat-related passives. Crystal level 53 raises their CP, which is of course always great, especially if you have maybe some leftover high CP passives from your artifacts that you haven't really been able to use up to this point. Also come in handy if there's any passives you want to grab coming up in the near future. Crystal levels 55 and 60 actually enhance their skills directly, while the rest of them are just pretty meaningful stat increases. These bonus effects can completely change the power of these skills and the overall ranking of the character. For example, the Warrior of Light, he's one of the characters we'll be talking about in a bit. He has 1 for his Shining Shield buff at crystal level 55, and that gives it 2 more uses. And on top of that, he was also buffed to get 2 more uses recently. So yeah, he's getting a lot of uses for that Shining Shield attack. And also, whoever he casts it on, it'll grant a larger bravery boost with this passive equipped. Now, his crystal level 60, his final awakening skill, is a throw buckler boost, and that boosts its bravery damage, which is always good, but it also makes the Warrior of Light perform an HP attack after he uses the skill, so it gives him access to another means of a bravery plus HP combo, which is something he otherwise doesn't have. They can require quite a bit of CP in order to equip these additional bonuses, which is why they give you the bonus CP from the earlier crystal level, but it also, you'll understand why that's not super important right now as we talk about the awakenings, but they are incredibly powerful, some of these awakenings. One I'm looking forward to in the future we'll talk about in a bit. As for which characters can currently be awoken, there are 6 characters initially for the first awakening. Warrior of Light, Cloud, Firion, Terra, Shantoto, and Ishtola. Now, all of these characters were also buffed in a recent patch, some more than others, but it does make all of their awakenings seem enticing. I have to remind you that, again, these high crystal shards are in limited quantity. So even if there's a character now that you may like, or even if you just don't like the characters now, but you're thinking of just spending them, you want to be a little bit smarter about them. If you're going to level somebody just because they're your favorite character, go right ahead. That's something you should be able to do without anyone really worrying too much about it. But if you're trying to look for strong power points for things like multiplayers or easier farming, or even just making certain bosses possible, then you want to plan these out a little bit more than just spending them whenever you want. For example, I myself am at a crossroad here. Shantoto's a character that I very much enjoy. She's not very strong before her awakening, and honestly, even after her awakening, other than her level 61, I don't really feel too great about what she has access to. One thing is, though, is that if I want to spend high crystal shards on her, she uses black crystals. Now, there are 2 other characters coming down the line that use black crystals, and I have to consider how many I'll have available now versus how many I'll have available by the time I get to those characters. Because if I don't have enough for those characters when they come out, then I'm on this constant budget where I always feel like I'm behind with my black high crystal shards. So it's a tough one, man, but it is what it is. Another choice that should be pretty easy to make would be Cloud. You know, a lot of people, Cloud is their favorite character. He's got tons of weapon passives, especially if you have the Dissidia NT sword. So he's another choice, but it's 275 of these high crystal shards. If there's another blue crystal character you're looking at, you might want to play a little bit weird with Cloud. I know I'm going to be spending mine on him in that category. It's just tough, man, because the next round of Awakenings has some pretty good characters, too. Vaughn, Tidus, Ace, Yuna, Cecil, and Bartz are the second round of Awakenings, which we don't know when those are going to come out, although we could probably guesstimate it based on the release schedule for the Japanese version of the game. Now, there are some more solid choices here. Vaughn is someone that I'm personally a big fan of, so I'll probably save some red crystals for him. Dark Knight Cecil is one I'm looking at closely. His Valiant Blow gives him the ability to spam knockbacks, which is incredibly powerful. When you're looking at multiplayer and using Cecil, he's less useful now than he would have been back when we had the scoring method. But that doesn't make knockbacks less useful. It's just that was one of the primary uses for having a character that could spam knockbacks. Lael's another character who's really good at that, who will, I suppose, eventually become something that is still fairly strong if you're looking for knockbacks overall. It's just tough, man, because, again, he's black crystal shards. And you know who I think comes after him? If I take a look at the list real quick that I have up on the side, I think Cloud, or Squall, I'm sorry. Squall is in the 3rd batch, and Squall's probably the one I want to save for the most. He's also black crystal shards. So I'm just at a bit of a crossroad here with those black crystal shards. Everything else I think I could probably figure out just fine, but man, there's some good Awakenings there, so I kind of got to hope that Global gives us a little bit more in the way of high crystal shards. But you can say there's plenty to think about, plenty of strategy here, or just personal choice of what your favorite characters are. So just go nuts. Just keep these characters and keep some of these Awakenings in mind. Since making these decisions can be so tough, discussing Awakenings with other players is super helpful for making these decisions. So I'd recommend the Dissidia Opera Omnia Discord, which is incredibly active. I'll include a link to that in the description. I do have my own Discord, which does have a mobile games channel, but it isn't specific to Dissidia Opera Omnia. So if you're looking for just that information, then the other one that I linked will definitely be the one that you're looking for the most. I think I didn't mention it earlier, but I'll also include a link to the Awakening schedule in the description. There's a lot of links in the description, so just go down there and look for the one that applies to you the most. And also, we have to start talking about EX weapons at some point. You know, based on the Japanese schedule, we can't be too far out from the EX weapons as well, so it's intense. We got a lot of decisions coming up soon with Opera Omnia. It's gonna get crazy, so hopefully you guys are ready for that. On that note, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Sorry it was a little more freeform at the end. I had a script, but I had a lot of things to say as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully you're going to enjoy a lot of the patches and content that are coming up for Dissidia Opera Omnia. Again, thank you to Square Enix for sponsoring this video. And again, another link in the description. If you want to download the game, iOS or Android, check that out as well. But anyway, thank you again. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more Opera Omnia content. I will see all of you in the next video, and until then, take care.